Hello everyone, and welcome to my deck guide for the deck I recently posted on Hearthpwn, titled Evil Rexxar. And the reason I called it that is because it's a Zulok Smork list. I'll just pull up the list right here in my collection real quick. Alright, so this is the list that we're going to be running. You probably recognize it. If it's not exactly the same, that probably means because I've made some changes to it on Hearthpwn since. But either way, you should be pretty familiar with it. It's a very aggressive list. Still running Abusive Sergeant. Most Zoo lists don't run it these days. Also 2 copies of Power Overwhelming, 2 copies of Soulfire. Again, also with Fist of Jaraxxus. This card isn't seen like anywhere really, but from what I've seen, it's been very good in this deck. If you say play Doomguard and then Fist of Jaraxxus hits their face when Doomguard discards it, that's 5 mana, 5/7 Battle Cry. Deal 4 damage to the opponent hero if they don't have anything on board, that is. But obviously it's more complicated than that. But anyways, without further ado, let's get into our first game. Alright, it is worth noting, by the way, that this is the first day of the season in November 2016. So, the season literally just reset, so I thought it'd be a good time, perfect time to give this deck a whirl, see how it does against the meta. Priest, eh? Well, this should be interesting, to say the least. Priest actually doesn't do too poorly against this deck, just because of its amount of heal, the way it can keep clearing your board. Both are which things that you don't want against this deck, because again, it's aggressive, you want your board. I'm actually going to keep this whole hand, 1, 2, 3 drop. I could play Flame Imp turn 1, or if I do want to play Librarian on turn 2, I could play Imp turn, or the other Imp, Knucklesaur's Imp turn 1. But either way, I'm going to keep this hand, has a good curve, has flexibility as well, which is what we want. Alright, let's get started then. Alright, turn 1. Okay, I'm actually going to do this. Because, again, we're very aggressive, I'm going to coin out the Knife Juggler, so that next turn we can play 2 1-drops, followed by the Imp Gang boss. Now, if he has Shadow Word Death, or excuse me, Shadow Word Pain, that'll be fine. It's a 1-for-1 card answer for Knife Juggler, but at least it means that the Death can't... Pain? Shadow Word Pain, not Shadow Word Death. Jeez. At least that means it won't be used on either of these, but fortunately, it looks like he doesn't have it. I could play this Librarian this turn, but when I play Librarian, I want to accompany it with the Imp, so I'm just going to play these 2 instead. Position the least important minion, being Flame Imp in this situation, in the middle. I have no idea why I'm lagging. Like, if any game, Hearthstone shouldn't be freaking lagging, it's a card game. Anyways, but yeah, the reason I'm placing Flame Imp in the middle is because it doesn't have any ability or anything that I want to keep a hold of. You know, let me turn the music down, it's very loud. Anyways, Thought Steal, okay. Very slow start for him, which is good for us. But you want them the least important minions to be positioned in the middle, mainly because when you play something like Direwolf Alpha, it'll be easy for them to die off and then, like, basically give their Direwolf Alpha buff to the minion to either side so they can trade, but it's a bit complicated to explain right now, but maybe we'll see it later on. So I'm going to play Imp Gang Boss between these 2, because Knife Juggler is very important. I want to keep it alive as much as I can. And yeah, it's fairly straightforward. But the reason you want to do it is because if you have, say, 5 minions on board, and you have the least important ones in the middle... Uh-oh. Huh. Interesting. I don't see Embrace the Shadow run very often these days. Looks like he's just going to do a full board clear. Okay. Close to a full board clear. That's interesting. But, yeah, so basically, if you can imagine this, the minions in the center would die when they hit something, meaning that the buff would then move on to the next minion when it becomes adjacent to the Direwolf Alpha, and then once it dies, then it goes to the important minion. But by that point, the minions that you want to trade into have already been killed by your less important minions. Maybe that makes sense, maybe it doesn't, but that's my explanation. I'm just going to play Abusive here, kill the Direwolf. Don't want him to have any minions, want to just keep pushing out stuff ourselves. Hopefully we'll be in a situation where we can play Librarian with an empty hand. Don't want to discard anything if possible. Moving into turn 5, looks like that'll be fairly plausible as long as we draw a 2-drop. So we can do 2 mana plus 1 mana plus 2. And I don't know if you realize this, but 2 plus 1 plus 2 equals 5, folks.
Embrace the void.
How can I? Okay. So he's using a lot of resources early on to really get a foothold on this board. Fist of Jaraxxus. Alright, we're gonna take the 50-50. Please hit the void. Or, how can I Soul Priest? Dang. Hit face. Well, I mean, That's not great because he gets to keep it, but on the other hand, he is down to 12 health by turn 6, and he has this up, which means that he can't heal himself any. That is unless if he kills it off on his own, because I think I'm just at a stage where I'm going to ignore it, keep pushing damage myself, but if it gets out of hand, okay, I might have to kill it off though if I want to keep my board. Ooh, okay, Silver Golem, Soulfire, okay, first things first, let's see what we get off of Peddler. I don't think I'm going to play this yet. Okay, none of these are great. Now, one thing you gotta think about is Young Dragonhawk has synergy with Abusive Sergeant, which I've already played, but it also has synergy with Power Overwhelming, so you can make it a 5-5 with Wind Fury, and Direwolf Alpha, so it can be a 2-1 with Wind Fury. Either cases, that's good. Hungry Crab is a good against a deck that you knows runs Finley, or maybe their Murloc Pally, but anyways, in this situation, I'm just gonna go with the Dragonhawk. Tap, Knife Juggler. Now, I'm thinking about Soul Firing this just to get rid of it, but again, I'm in a position where it's honestly a good thing for me because it prevents him from healing himself, so I'm just going to keep pushing damage to face and ignore it. Next turn I'm probably going to play Soulfire, and I'm just going to have to hope honestly that it doesn't discard my Doomguard. This is a fairly awkward situation where you have 2 discard cards in hand, but honestly you just kind of have to accept that you're probably going to lose one or the other. Choose which one is more important to you and play that for the time being. Looks like he's going to clear off our board here. Isn't devastating, honestly. Like, we're still in a pretty dang good position, but still a bit unfortunate. Okay. Now, if we play Soulfire and it discards one of these 2 cards, we can push 9 to face, but the issue is we're still 1 off lethal. So I'm going to start with the tap. Direwolf. Alright. Interesting. This is a bit of a tough choice, honestly. Okay, I'm going to start off with Soulfire. And the reason is because I don't want to discard Doomguard. I'm okay with discarding any of these cards, but so if I play it now, it reduces the chance of discarding Doomguard compared to these. So, let's see what happens. Alright, that's fine. I'm going to save Direwolf, and I'll tell you why. Because next turn, I'm going to draw a card. And then I'm going to tap and draw another card, meaning I'll have 4 cards in hand other than Doomguard. Oh, jeez. Heal yourself, heal yourself, heal yourself. Dang it. I've seen people make that mistake a lot, where they try to heal themselves, but they have Alkanai on board and they accidentally kill themselves off. Looks like that's lethal anyways. But effectively, what I was trying to say is I'd play Doomguard, and it would probably discard one of these 2, but not both of them, increasing the chance that I could kill him with Doomguard plus Direwolf or plus Power Overwhelming. But in this situation, we don't need it. We can just kill him off with this. Boom. There we go. So you can see the reason why I run Argent Horseman in this deck is because of the synergy with Direwolf and Power Overwhelming, and I got to show both those off there right at the end, which is good. But yeah, oftentimes in this deck, it comes down to probability of discarding cards, and you really have to think about what you want to keep and what you don't want to keep. If there's a card in your hand and you have a bunch of cards, chances are you'll want to play your discard card first before playing anything else, so it reduces the odds of discarding that one card that you want to keep, if that makes any sense at all. But anyways, moving on to our game 2 against a Hunter. Alright, this will be interesting. Maybe he's chances are he's going to be an aggressive list, so we'll see who can outsmork the other. No need for Power Overwhelming. If he was Druid, I might consider Power Overwhelming just because they drop so many big minions early on, but he's a Hunter, so no need for it yet. Arguably, I could keep it with Possessed Villager to trade off, say, his 3-drop, make all your secrets for free, 3-mana 3/4. I am so bad with card names, I'm just going to tell you right now, but, yeah, anyways, we don't really need it. In this situation, I'm going to save the Voidwalker, because you often want to keep the taunt utility to where you need it, you know you'll need it at least. So I'm just going to play this good minion. If he plays Fiery Bat, then we can trade into it, still have a minion afterwards. Coining out a Grandmother. Alright, can't say I'm too surprised by that. Just going to play a Peddler, see what we get. Now this is interesting. I am actually, you may think that one of these two is... Why can I not talk? I'm so sorry. You may think that one of the left 2 cards here would be the right choice, but in this situation, I'm actually going to go with Bloodsail Corsair, just because he's Hunter, oftentimes he'll get his bow down to 1 durability so that he can buff it up with Secret later, but we want him to unknowingly get it down to 1 durability. Then we play this and remove it. I wouldn't keep this against Rogue, though, compared to the other two, just because their 1-attack weapon has so little value compared to Hunter's bow. Okay. So that's why I'm keeping it here. Effectively. Alright, I'm just gonna drop this. Now, okay, many of you might think, oh, larger attack minion, just get rid of this. But if I trade off this, not only does it remove this, which can get bigger in the future, but it also means that my 2-attack minion survives and can trade into this in the future. Of course, maybe I'll trade my Imp Gang Boston, but nonetheless, I still have 2 power on board. And I'm just gonna hit face with the 1-1. This is a Smork deck, but against other aggressive decks, it honestly often becomes a control matchup, whereas whoever has the most minions just wins because they can keep pushing face. Okay, kill command. That's fine, honestly. That's not too big a deal. But yeah, that's why I'm trading so much. If he was more of a control deck, for instance, I would definitely be hitting face a lot more than I currently am. This situation, I'm just going to drop my gang boss. I kind of want to save the abusive sergeant in order to get rid of a higher attack minion, or a higher value minion for his part. So I'm going to play the Voidwalker here. Also, if he plays Argent Horse Rider, remember the 3-mana 2-attack charge, this can soak that up, meaning he can't get to my 2-1. He might, if he had it, he might choose to go face either way, but even then it protects me. But so far the game hasn't been extremely quick. Oh, hey, would you look at that? Would you look at that, boys? Look at that. So yeah, that's why I kept this here. It's extremely powerful against bow.
Extraordinary.
Play this first, and then play that. Oh man, I don't know if you noticed, but the green knife is actually the same animation effect for both of these cards. I should have tapped first. Tap first! I didn't think my whole turn through, but if you're ever in this situation, please remember to always tap first. It's important that you want to plan out your whole turn in advance, just to like get a feel for what you want to do. So generally you want to tap first. However, if you have, say, Malchezaar's Imp and a discard card in hand, you'll oftentimes want to play that because you know you're going to draw a card either way off of the Imp. But in a situation where that's not the case, tap first, please. That was just me being forgetful, honestly. Alright, this is a bit unfortunate, but he can't kill everything, which is really good. We are really far ahead here. We have card advantage, we have health advantage, we have board advantage. So this is a really good spot so far. Okay. If that's Explosive Trap, that could really turn things around. But by the way he's trading, I don't expect it to be. If it was explosive, he'd probably try to get all my minions down to 2 health so that his trap could kill it off. But it doesn't look like that's the case. It could be still. So I want to be wary. Alright, if this is freezing trap, I'm going to play this, hit with this first, because I want this bounced back to my hand in case if he plays another bow, meaning that I can get his Battlecry effect off. So start with this. Okay. Hit him in the face. Okay, it's probably going to be Cat Trick then. The 2-mana secret, summon a 4/2 with stealth. Might be Snipe. Okay, it's Snipe. The reason I chose Snipe to get rid of the 3/2, by the way, is because I'm going to play this as well. Get a free 3/3, which is insanely valuable. But the reason that you should play the Imp Gang boss first in that situation is because basically it absorbs 2 extra damage, whereas with the 7 health minion, it would go all the way, like it would take 4 damage. Flame Imp only takes 2 damage. So it's actually perfectly fine there. And also, if he plays an Explosive Trap, Flame Imp would die either way, so like it's gonna die either way effectively. Alright, yeah, he does appear to be an aggressive list, which is really good for us because we're at 24 health and it's turn, well, moving into turn 7. So that's when you know you're in a good spot. Now, I could get threatened by his board, but he's in a position whereas he really wants to get rid of my board because I have more threats on board. Well, at least higher damage threats. Oh, by the way, remember to play this on an empty board before you tap, because you don't want to discard the card that you draw into. Malchezaar's Imp. Okay, well, even if I played Malchezaar's Imp. Fun fact, most people don't know this, but if you play Imp and Darkshire Librarian, and you have an empty hand, you don't draw a card, because you're not discarding anything, technically. Because you have no cards to discard, right? Some people just think, oh, if I play a discard card while I have Imp out, then I just draw a card, but that's not quite how it works. So you have to have a card and physically discard it for it to work.
Don't worry, loves.
Okay, another Horse Rider. Doesn't look like it's gonna save him here though. Even if he somehow finds a way to clear my board and like everything I have, I'm still in a massively stronger position than he is. But it does not appear to be the case. Yeah, it looks like this game is gonna be. We're gonna take game number 2 here. 2 for 2. 100% win rate out of 2, but it's still 100%. Man, good stuff. All right, we'll move on to game 3 in a sec. Here we go. The big game, the fight for rank 16. Oh, the glory of rank 16. Man. Alright, appears to be Shaman. Can't say I'm surprised in this meta.
Your soul shall be mine.
Okay, now. Imp Gang Boss is really powerful against Shaman just because it keeps summoning minions for them to deal with. Also, the 4 health isn't super easy for them to deal with. Most of their minions have 2 or 3 attack. So I'm going to keep the Imp here. I'm also going to keep the 1-drop, but I'm not going to keep this one because A, I don't have any discard cards, and B, I'm really looking for a 2-drop to get the 1-2-3 curve. So this doesn't have any synergy yet, and again, I'm really fishing for a 2-drop here. So I'm just going to throw it back. Okay, we got a 3-drop. Still have another chance to draw a 2-drop though. So
I greet you.
well, the Imp's back. Not quite what we're looking for. I mean, this hand's fine, honestly. Like, not having a 2-drop isn't the end of the world, but it's just something you kind of want to look for. Oh, another thing, oftentimes playing 2 1-drops is a lot more impactful. Yeah, I figured that might happen. But playing 2 1-drops is a lot more impactful on turn 2 than playing a 2-drop because, like, statistically, they often just have more stats. Like, for instance, if you look at the stats, this is a 2-mana 2-6 that has partially taunt and partially whenever you discard a card, draw a card, which is insane value. If that was bundled up into 1 card, that'd be ridiculous. But the reason I'm playing the taunt here is to protect the Imp, and also I'm in a position whereas Horse Rider can trade into this. Alright, let me just tell you, if you're playing Shaman, this is not an amazing play coining out Totem Golem just because the next turn you don't have anything to do. And you have a lot of 2-drops in your deck, so chances are you could draw one of them. So you play Totem Golem turn 2, and then turn 3 when you're overloaded, you can play another 2-drop. But I'm not here to teach Shaman, I'm here to teach Aggro Zulok. Alright. Okay. Now, in this situation, it looks tempting to go Librarian Malkazar's Imp, but I am actually going to play Imp Gang Boss and the other Malkazar's Imp. And the reason is because mainly you really want to be mana efficient with this deck, like really mana efficient whenever you can. And also, since I have 2 of these, it's likely that at least one of them will survive for this. It is arguable that I could have gotten 2 draws though, because each of these will trigger once. But in the early game against the Shaman, you really want to get substance, just lots of minions out on your board when you can. Okay, looks like he's gonna make this trade. Can't say I disagree with that, but okay. I am actually going to play. Okay, this is interesting. I'm gonna do it in this order. Remember what I said about tap first? This is one of the situations where that does not apply. I'm actually going to tap last because I want to get both of these minions out because it gets me 6 power on board, meaning that I don't want to discard this. I want to play it. I could play Librarian first and redraw, but I really just want to... I really feel like this is an above average quality card in my deck, at least for this situation. So I'm going to play this first, and then I'm going to play this, and then I'm going to tap. Direwolf Alpha. Arguably, I could have tapped and see what I got and then discard it, but in this specific situation, I went with this line of play. You could have, if the card that you had wasn't amazing, like, what's an example? Abusive Sergeant, like a card you really wouldn't really want to play. Well, in that situation, it was okay, but a card that you don't really want, okay? Chances are you want to tap first because you know that if you discard a card, you're going to redraw anyways, but it wasn't the case in this scenario. By the way, he mispositioned this. He should have played this on the left so that he has minions on either side, but very small thing. Alright, it's really good that he didn't play Totemic Might. Told you I'm bad with card names, but man. Anyways, start with this. Peddler, see what we get. We like our hero power, so we're not going to play Murgleton. We like taunts, so we're going to pick Voidwalker. Alright, this is going to go here. This is a really high value target. So I'm just going to trade into it with this. Okay. Hang on. Let me make this plain. Okay. What I was going to say is I should have played it between Imp and Librarian, so that Librarian could have gotten the buff to trade into the whatchamacallit, Witch Doctor. But that wasn't the case in this scenario. I'm sorry if I'm confusing you, but that wasn't the case because this is on the end, and you really want minions adjacent on either side of Direwolf Alpha whenever you can. So I worded that very, very poorly, so I'm sorry if that confused you, but yeah, effectively try to get minions adjacent either side of Direwolf when you can. Now this is the dream. Having Fist of Jaraxxus, either 2 Fists of Jaraxxus or 2 Silver War Golems, or 1 of each in hand, while you have Doomguard. So, you want to know what this is? This is a 5 mana, 8/10 Battle Cry, deal 4 damage, charge. That's effectively what this is. I summon a 3/3, I have a 5/7, I deal 9 to his face in 1 turn. See, this is just where this deck becomes broken. Like, all the synergies, if you can play your hand out right, kind of save your discard cards until you your discarded cards for until you get your discard cards to synergize. But yeah. Anyways, I think that'll do for now. So you saw 3 games, we won all 3. In my experience, this deck has been extremely powerful lately. Zulok hasn't been great, but I found that this aggro list, Evil Rexxar, it's really worked for me. Just all the synergies. Remember to play out your cards and then discard, so you don't discard the cards and, you know, you just get the extra value without losing anything when you can. Try to save these until you get something to discard them with, but if you have no other play, obviously throw them out. But yeah, that's going to wrap it up for me. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment below. I normally check the comment section once every few days or whatever. But yeah, that's going to do it for me. Peace.